Welcome friends to this back to basic video focusing on the hamstrings and the calves. These muscles are in the back of our legs and oftentimes are very tight, which can cause back pain and other issues, mobility issues. So the hamstrings enable us to bend or flex our knees and also extend back at the hip joint, and the calves allow us to come up onto our tiptoes. So in this video we're going to do some gentle, easy stretching, a little bit of strengthening, but you should feel really, really good after this video. So we're going to start in child's pose and do some cat-cow waves. On your inhale, puff up in your back, bring your shoulders forward, and on your exhale, lead back to child's pose with your hips. So every inhale lifts you and brings you forward, and every exhale helps to settle you back down. Then stretch your left leg out, flexing your foot, and really push out through your heel to begin to stretch the calves. And then bend your knee, pull your knee towards your chest, and just bend and straighten the leg. So working those hamstring muscles, bringing some blood to them, getting them nice and warmed up. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So first, flex your foot, push your toes into the ground, stretch out the back of your legs, and then on every exhale, pull your knee into your chest. Every inhale, stretch your leg out. And from here, we'll sit back on our heels and come up into downward facing dog. You can bend one knee at a time, stretching out the calves. Go at your own pace. Maybe speed it up a little bit like I'm doing here to bring some blood flow into the calves. And then a couple of cat-cows, rounding forward from down dog, coming into plank, and from plank stretching back through the hip bones into downward facing dog. So come onto your hands and knees, and we'll do some work on the wrists. So rotate your fingers outward, pointing your fingers towards your knees, or if they don't rotate that far, they can point out to the side. Then rock back and forth in the direction of your fingers. Now we're going to stretch out the top of the wrist, so bring your knuckles together, bend the elbows to relax the stretch, and then straighten your arms to get into the stretch, stretching out the top of the wrist. Place your hands back for a tabletop. Stretch your left leg back. Keep a posterior tilt. Lift your leg into resistance, so don't let your back sag, and stretch your right arm forward. And then we'll bend the knee and the elbow, touching them together on the exhale and straightening them out on the inhale. So keeping your core engaged, not letting any kind of sway back happen when you extend your leg. And we'll switch sides. Stretch the right leg back, engage the muscles, lift your leg up, keep the belly lifted. On exhale, bend knee to elbow, elbow to knee, inhale, straighten the leg. Just go back and forth a couple more times, maintaining your balance, keeping that hamstring engaged. And then we'll come back to tabletop. And just do some circles around our hams, stretching out the ribs, circling in both directions, warming up the spine. Stretch your right leg back, and then stretch your right leg to the outside of your left foot. Look back over your left shoulder and push out through your heel of the right foot. Stretch your leg back, again pushing the heel back, getting into those calves. You can bend and straighten your knee, just little pulses here. Come back to tabletop and we'll do the same thing the other side. So bring the left leg across your body, so your left foot is stretched out on the right side. Look over your right shoulder, so you're crunching in the right side of your body and getting a little stretch on the outside ribs. And then alternate between bending the knees and stretching out through the heel, really noticing the calf here. Come into your down dog. And again, stretch out through the heels. Then you can stretch your foot to the outside of your left foot again, reaching out through your heel. Keeping the knee a little bit bent. Same thing on the other side. It's really pressing through the heel with a slight bend in the knee, kind of finding the bend of the knee to resist any hyperextension of your knee. Come back, to your down dog, and then inhale, reach your right leg up, and exhale, slowly step it forward. Lower your left knee down. Stretch your hips back and flex your foot. Keep a little soft bend in your knee, and you can always use blocks here underneath your hands. We're just doing little pelvic tilts here, so you can feel how the hamstring stretch moves up and down your leg, depending on if you're arching your back a little bit or rounding it a little bit. And you can point and flex your toes. You can swivel the hips from side to side, so we can try and get to all three of the hamstrings, the outer hamstrings and the inner hamstring. And come back to your lunge and back to your hamstring stretch. So alternate back and forth, stretching out the hip flexor of the back leg when your front knee is bent, and stretching out the hamstring when the front knee is straighter. And stretch back to downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward slowly, bringing your foot down to your hands, lowering the right knee down. Pull your left hip back to straighten your left leg. And alternate between bending your knee and straightening your leg. Doing little pelvic tilts, little kind of mini cat-cows here. So as you posteriorly tilt your tailbone, that means stretching your tailbone towards your heel. This stretch will move down your leg, down the hamstrings, down the back of your leg. And when you arch your back a little bit, it will move up. So we want to try and find a good stretch in the middle of our hamstrings. Then shift back and forth again a couple times. Again, feel free to use blocks here. And step back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Little pulses here, bending the knees. Try and stretch out through your heels without pushing the knees back. Try and keep the knees reaching forward a little bit. Stretch out through your heels. Keep the belly lifted. Keep the spine long. Enjoy the stretch. And come up onto your tiptoes, working those calf muscles, and walk forward to your hands. Again, bend the knees a little bit. And then try and lift up through your sit bones as you push down through your heels. It's going to straighten the legs a little bit more. You can do some gentle rocking motions here. And just let your head hang. Take your time here to feel the back of your legs, hamstrings, and the calves. And notice how it feels to bring your body closer to your legs or a little bit further away. You don't want the stretch way up by the top of the hamstrings. You want it down a little bit. So that would mean a little bit more of a posterior tilt to bring the stretch down if it's up too high. And inhale, rise all the way up, touch your fingertips toward the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, float the arms up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bow, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Stretch out the back of your legs, stretch out your back. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Exhale, hug your knee to your chest, step your foot forward slowly with control. Pull your right hip back to straighten that front leg. And then those little mini cat-cows. And then lift your toes, flexing the foot, press the toes back down again. So notice how moving your pelvis and moving your feet will help to stretch out your hamstrings and calves. And just take your time here. Observing how you're feeling and not trying to push too hard, but at the same time trying to get a nice healthy stretch. Gain greater range of motion, more mobility, without sacrificing stability. And push into your front foot. Press out through your back heel. Inhale. Reach the arms up. Lift the chest up. Push out through that back heel. Push down through the front foot. And exhale. Bring your hands back down. Straighten the front leg by pulling your hip back. And you can open your knee out to the side and little movements in your hip. Straighten the front leg again, lift your toes. You can do any little variations here that feel good for you. And step your back foot forward. Step your front foot back. So we're switching sides. And do something similar on this side. Pull your hip back, little cat-cows. Shift your hips any way you want, lift the toes. You got this. The idea is to explore and to stretch from your heel all the way up through your sit bones as you reach your chest forward. And swing the hips side to side. Really listening to your body. Going just as far as it's going to work well for you today so that we don't overstretch. But at the same time, we want to try and lengthen to our full potential. And pushing into both legs. Inhale, reach the shoulders up, reach the arms up, reach your heart up. Maybe little pulses here, just feeling your way into this crescent lunge. Bring your hands back down and step back, downward facing dog. And we're going to work on Trikonasana triangle pose here. So inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, slowly step it forward. You can use a block here on the outside of your front foot. Rotate your back heel down. Line up your front heel with the middle of your back arch or the heel of your back leg. Slowly bring the shoulder up and reach your arm up so that your arms are in more or less a straight line. And then rotate from the ribs, lower your hand down to the inside of your front foot and open it up again. Shoulder leading the way. So we're not trying to open up any more with our hand than what our shoulder allows us to do. So you want to try not using the block. Go for that. Try and keep your upper ribs nice and long without a curve in them. It's just one way of doing it, but just will give you a little more length in your spine. And step back, downward facing dog. And we'll repeat this on the other side. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, knee to chest. Keep your knee really high, your foot as high as you can, and step your foot forward gracefully to your hands. Pull that left hip back. Rotate the right heel down. Use a block or don't use a block. Then take that right arm and start to lift from the shoulder, stretching the hand up. And exhale, lower your hand back down. Inhale, open the shoulder, stretch up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, open. Exhale, lower. Inhale, open. And we'll hold here just so you can do any little refinements that are going to help you feel really nice. Balancing strength and lengthening and stretching. Keeping nice and steady. Maintaining stability. And step back, downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward. And we'll come into a squat. Lower your hips down. Straighten the legs. So it's really helpful to have more open hamstrings for forward folds. So keep a little bend under your knee. And again, you can place a rolled up towel under your knee if you like. Keep your spine long and extend your chest forward. So better to stay almost upright with a slight tilt than to do a big rounding of your back and just let your head touch your legs. So think length from your tailbone all the way up through the crown of your head. And take your time slowly, mindfully making your way into your forward fold. So forward is the key word here. It's not just about folding down, it's about stretching forward into the fold, lengthening those hamstrings, lengthening your spine, respecting your limitations. So you don't want to push it too hard. You want to find what feels reasonable for your body, balancing the stretch and the stability. So I like to keep my legs engaged here. Helps protect your joints and creates a stretch that is going to last a little bit longer than a passive stretch, in my opinion, from the research that I've read. So I like to come in and out of the stretch a little bit. And just relaxing with the upper body. The forward folds are like a surrender. They're letting go of the ego and honoring what's deep inside of you. Bend your knees. Come into malasana, a squat. Let your hips hang down, your shoulders move back. And we're just going to lift up and down. Lifting the hips into a wide-legged forward fold and then lowering the hips into a squat. So consistency and practice are what make changes. And then we're going to lower onto our backs. Just letting your body relax. And then we're going to bend our knees. Bring the right leg up, hold the back of your right thigh with your hands, interlacing the fingers. Push your leg into your hand to resist, and then bring your foot forward. The closer your knee is to your chest, the deeper the hamstring stretch. So if it's too much for you having your knee close to your chest, just bring your knee a little further away. If you can hold your foot, hold your foot. If you can't, hold your ankle or keep holding the back of your thigh. Keep that left leg grounded so the back of the leg is close to the earth. And if that doesn't happen for you now, that's okay. It's probably just that you've got some little tightness in your psoas. So just play around here with some gentle, going deeply into the stretch, as deeply as you're ready for. No pressure to go as deep as the person next to you. It's really about listening to your own body. We'll do the same thing with the left leg. So bend your knee, bring your knee in towards your chest. Stretch your foot forward, and then release it to take some pressure, some tension out of the stretch. And just gentle pulses, gentle movement, bending the knee a little bit. So drive your hip in toward the ground. Hold whatever part of your leg you can reach comfortably. And play with your edge. Your edge is going to be different from everyone else's edge because we're all unique individuals. And you can just play with the stretch. You can bring your leg a little bit out to the side if you like. But don't let your opposite hip roll up. So be gentle here, but also experimental. And bring your leg back up. Release your leg. Lower down, stretch your arms over your head. And bring your feet up and your arms up into dead bug pose. So let the weight of your feet sink into your hips. The weight of your arms sink into your shoulders. And then shake everything out vigorously. Place your feet down, stretch your arms over your head, and hug your left knee in towards your chest. And switch sides, hug the right knee in as you stretch the opposite leg out. Hug both knees in. And stretch out your legs for Savasana. So bring your feet towards the outer corners of your mat and your arms a little bit away from your sides with your palms facing up. Focus on your breath. Relaxing, surrendering, enjoying, finding that peaceful place. Stay here as long as you like. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, send me a comment, and thank you so much for taking this time out to practice yoga with me. Have a lovely day. Namaste.